repetition slash pattern, I guess. Then we've got movement and rhythm. When I talk about movement and rhythm in art, what comes to your mind? Right, this is the example that I found of movement and rhythm in art. How do you think this painting illustrates movement or rhythm? Or where can we find rhythm and movement in your art, if you had to guess? Because I haven't talked about it yet. Maybe I should talk about it first. The curved lines. Yeah, and really lines are like the key to movement and rhythm in artwork, right? Squiggles, yeah. So when we talk about movement and rhythm in artwork, it's these lines that our eyes follow. Like the movement that we're talking about is not like maybe like we've got people dancing in the picture. It's the way that our eyes move around, like the movement or rhythm, and the way that our eyes sort of follow the lines in the picture. And again, those can be like drawn on lines, or they can be implied lines here. Like if I'm looking at this painting, like I'm not actually seeing any black outlines. Are you? Like I don't see any like actual lines in this picture. No, it's all implied line, like where these colors meet, where our eyes sort of fill in the gaps and create the lines and follow them around. So when we talk about movement slash rhythm in a picture, that's what I'm talking about. How do your eyes follow those like real lines or implied lines? Right. Okay. Does that make sense? I mean, it's pretty simple when I explain it that way. I've had trouble explaining movement in the past. But does that make sense? So again, the sort of the path that your eyes take in a work of art is the movement in that work of art, right? So when we talk about creating movement, or there's a lot of movement in there, it could be like a picture of like a person sitting in a chair, but the lines are drawn in a way that really like takes your eyes on a journey, or the objects in the picture are arranged in a way that leads your eye around and takes it on that like sort of flowing journey. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a picture of someone moving to have movement. It's more about the way that the real and implied lines sort of lead your eye. Okay, so that's movement. Love movement. I think movement's a super important part of a successful work of art. Okay, variety, contrast, and scale and proportion. Okay, let's start with variety and contrast. So when we talk about variety or contrast in a work of art, we're talking about using the sort of elements of art in a way where they kind of like, or using multiple elements of works of art, I guess, or using elements of art in a different way. So for instance, I could draw like maybe a couple of smooth apples over here and a couple of hairy apples over here, and that would be a variety of texture in my work of art. Or I could do a bunch of red apples over here, but maybe like they're different shades of red. That would be variety in the reds that I'm using, variety in the color. So really, when we talk about variety slash contrast in a work of art, we're talking about, are you mixing up the elements of art? Are you using different ones, or are you using the same element of art differently in different parts of your artwork? Does that make sense?